How good is your favorite NFL team entering Week 17? Welcome, football fans. It's Mitch here, back with another week of the most brutal, honest, and opinionated NFL power rankings. The only power rankings on the internet that will give you the brutal truth. 100% raw NFL unfiltered opinion. So if you're ready and you're with me, spike the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for weekly NFL power rankings leading up to the NFL playoffs. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some playoffs. And in this video, I will dictate, I will discuss who are the contenders, who are the pretenders, and I'll be clean and honest. No playing around, no games. No reading in between the lines. I'll tell you, does your team suck? Or is your team good enough to raise the Lombardi? Let's get to it, man. Let's begin with the bottom of the barrel, the worst team in the NFL, number 32, and let's build our way up to number 1, the best team in football. At number 32, it is still the New York Giants. And honestly, the New York Giants of the last couple of weeks might be one of the worst teams I've ever watched. It's slipping under the radar how bad the New York Giants have become. Like, has anyone really noticed how bad the Giants are? Like, Daniel Jones, low key, once he left this team, they went from competitive to just unbelievably horrific. Did anyone notice that? The O-line, shambles. The defense, shambles. No Dexter Lawrence. This defense, they play competitively still. They tried against the Falcons. A rookie quarterback in his first ever start. And the best thing I can say is they tried. You know how down bad you have to be for me to say that, bro? I'm being nice. They allowed 2 touchdowns via the Falcon defense. This is a Falcon defense catching strays here in the Giants section that can't get a pass rush, and somehow the Giants allowed them to score not 1, but 2 touchdowns. I love my boy Drew Lock, but he has not had it this year. His dance moves are just not the same. The aura is missing from Drew Lock this season. And then they go to quite possibly one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. Not even quite possibly, definitely one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. Tommy DeVito. Bro stinks. I feel bad for Malik Neighbors. Tyrone Tracy is a beast. Stud. But this team needs a reworking, a reshaping, and a new hope like Star Wars. They need a Luke Skywalker. At number 31, the New Orleans Saints. What I just watched on Monday Night Football can only be described as CFL quality football by the New Orleans Saints. And the best part of the game, it was not Matt LaFleur's fresh haircut after halftime. Bro, on point. But it was the Rizzler. I think any Saints game for the rest of the season, they have to have a cam exclusively on their coach freaking out while his team is losing by 4 touchdowns. I think they need to have a cam exclusively only. We need to have this available on cable, YouTube, TV, Amazon, whatever, okay? We need to have this available. It should be called the Rizzler Cam or the Riz Cam, all right? We need just one camera on this jabroni watching him freak out over the littlest thing. Him jumping up and down, calling a timeout, doing like a whatever he was doing. Bro is moonwalking on the sidelines. And then we've got Spencer Rattler one play throwing an off-balance dime, and the next play throwing a pick directly to the other team. Like, my goodness. What a football team. There are players playing on their offense who I have never heard of. Like, I don't know who these jabronis are. I don't know a single one of them. Okay? On defense, they suck. Cam Jordan is so old. Hang him up. I feel bad for Jamari. He thinks this team is good. I'm still going to get a comment from Jamari suggesting that I had them too low. I guarantee I will get a comment. Mitch, the Saints are too low. Watch. At number 30, the Cleveland Browns. You guys suck. You left Jameis Winston on the bench. Our only pride and joy of the Cleveland Brown franchise. You couldn't at least just give us Jameis Winston for the rest of the season. You couldn't just allow us the Jameis experience. You had to sit Jameis Winston. You had to. You've been giving us Deshaun Watson. Bro's been shoved down our throats. I could go many different directions with that joke. I will choose not to go any direction, but just saying, Jameis Winston needed to play. He needs to play. He's the only pride and joy of the Cleveland Browns. There is no point of watching them any longer. There is no aura attached to this franchise any longer. Nick Chubb got hurt. Jerry Jeudy is now pedestrian once again, and Steve Smith is now happy once again. He got his smile back like Shawn Michaels. And the defense sucks. I don't know what happened to the Cleveland Brown defense, but it's Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, and a bunch of jabronis. The Browns, I will not forgive you for sitting Jameis Winston and playing DTR, the three worst letters in sports. DTR. This guy, he doesn't even deserve his full name pronounced. He sucks. At number 29, oh my God, the Tennessee Titans. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a really shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer. What's the lyric? Used to laugh and call him names. But what's the rest of the song? Mason Rudolph really, really sucks at football. My God, he sucks. Holy cow. I think his favorite target was Moore, the nickel corner on the Colts, who I always want to call Kellen Moore. Why do I always want to call him Kellen Moore? Why do I have Kellen Moore's ugly mug stuck in my mind? Like, what is going on here? The Titans are really bad. How did they go down to Anthony Richardson 38-7? 38-7. Guys, all I have to say about the Tennessee Titans is that they lost to a team 38, I think 30 or something. I don't even know. Who cares? They lost to the Colts. They allowed 38 points. And the quarterback that they played had 7 completions. Like, that is absolutely pathetic. I don't have to say anything else. And if you ever saw him, you would say Mason Rudolph really blows. At number 28, we've got the Jacksonville Jags. Mac Jones. Look like Mac Jones this week. Mac Jones really sucks against the Raiders. If there's anything that I know about Mac Jones, it's that he was better than Tua at Alabama and that Mac Jones will lose to the Raiders. Whenever you see Mac Jones in a game against the Raiders, you bet on the Raiders. I don't know why I didn't take my own advice, but that is the case. Really bad. Now, that being said, Jacksonville is weird. Like, I was doing that mock draft, and I was thinking, like, this is a team that's going to have a top 5 pick in the draft, pretty much confirmed. They blow almost as much as Mason Rudolph and Travis Hunter's girlfriend. But they have a top 5 pick. And they don't need a tackle. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need a receiver. They don't need an edge rusher. Think about how incompetent you have to be as an NFL franchise to go through your needs and understand that you signed your quarterback, you signed your left tackle, you drafted a first-round right tackle, you have 2 top 5 picks at defensive end, one of them signed, you have a stud wide receiver who's a rookie, and you still suck. Just think about that. Their biggest need on their team is a cornerback. Like, think about that for a second. This team makes no sense. They need a new coach, obviously. I think that's going to take place. They need an identity. They need a new general manager, but they'll never get one. I mean, the guy drafted Blake Bortles. He still has a job. That's all you have to know. At number 27, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I really want to see, because my Patriots don't need a quarterback. We're good. We good. All right. If there is a team in the draft that I want to see take a quarterback, it's the Raiders. Sorry, mispronounced that. The Raiders. There you go. Because Brock Bowers is a beast. I love some Jacoby Myers, who I still don't think has dropped the pass. Thank you, Bill Belichick. Max Crosby needs some motivation to go on living, to be honest. I mean, the guy is on suicide watch. If we're really being honest, I think one of the most comedic parts, and I'm not trying to make fun of the watch, but YouTube probably just flagged that, right? Probably. But the Raiders, if you guys just listen to Max Crosby after every game, like, I think that's probably the best part. And then we've got Antonio Pierce saying he doesn't care about the draft pick. Well, no wonder, jabroni. You're not going to be there, you dumbass. This guy, I hate this guy. What is he writing on his notebook? Has he put his headphone down yet? Has anyone checked if Antonio Pierce has put the microphone in front of his mouth? Does anybody know? Please, for the love of all that is holy, somebody check on Antonio Pierce and Max Crosby for that matter. Draft the quarterback, Brady. At number 26, the Bears. It's fun going from the Raiders to the Bears. The Bears, man, their fan base is once again in denial. You know, I can't blame their fan base because, quite frankly, Nicholas Gill claims to know what a quarterback looks like, but the young guy has never seen a quarterback in his life. The Bears fans have never seen a quarterback. They don't know what a good one looks like. They really don't. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know what it smells like. They don't know what type of helmet they wear, what type of cleats they got on. They don't know what they walk like, talk like, throw like, run like. They thought Justin Fields was good. Now they think Caleb Williams is good. I feel really bad for them. And there's these Bears fans that will post the Caleb Williams stats next to CJ Stroud's stats and be like, yo, look at his stats, bro. And it's like, yeah, I mean, okay, let's check his stats in the first quarter. Because has the guy scored a touchdown in the first quarter for the entire freaking season? Like, every Bears game, they're down by double digits before I even blinked. I can't even watch the Bears game on a Sunday because it's already over. It's over by 10 minutes in the game. And then I tune in the second half and I just see Caleb running around in circles. I see no aura having Rome Odunze trying to catch the ball. I see fat Keenan Allen. I see disinterested DJ Moore. Like, this team drives me nuts. The Bears are bonkers. At number 25, the new New England Patriots. That's right. You know what? For the first time since Tom Brady retired, I was watching the game. And there was a suggestion that the Patriots need Tom Brady back. And I said, whoa, jabroni, hold up. We have a quarterback. He can sit his ass down. I said that out loud with real words. That is how much I believe in Drake May. We have a quarterback. Do we have a absolute clown of a coach? Absolutely. That being said, did Gerard Mayo have one of his best games of the season this week? Probably. For all the Patriots fans that are blaming Alex Van Pelt, you guys are the same fans that blame Josh McDaniels for being literally like the best offensive coordinator in the league for about 10 years. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, Alex Van Pelt has literally nobody to work with. He's working with the worst O-line in the league. Like, give the guy a break. You know what I'm saying? He's got his highest paid player fumbling the football, getting annihilated and jacked up. He has his veteran tight end falling in the end zone. Like, what is Alex Van Pelt supposed to do? Now, shout out to the defense. They finally came through and played a decent game. You know, and weirdly enough, I think I heard Gonzalez's name like once. The secondary was actually on point. Like, Alex Austin, Jonathan Jones had a great game. I thought the secondary played really well. The pass coverage was really good. The run defense is still inept. It's gross. This is the worst run defense I've seen from the Patriots since like 2009. Like, it's really bad. It's really bad. Okay? The Patriots, though, I got them at 25 because they got Drake May. They have a new hope. They have a dude. And his name's Drake. At number 24, the New York Jets. The Jets are at this strange part of their choking season where they pretty much outplay every team they play and still lose, like, consistently. Like, pretty much every game they play, they outplay the opponent and they still lose. This week, they found a way to go for it about 5 times on 4th down for absolutely no reason at all. Like, they could have just kicked field goals and taken the lead and probably beaten Sean McVay running screens and halfback dive the entire game. But instead, they just chose to go for it, because why not? Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be here next year anyways. Devontae Adams probably going to leave to the Patriots. And, you know, the Jets, I just can't with this team, bro. Like, Aaron Rodgers, everybody just talks about Aaron Rodgers, and I kind of feel bad for the guy. Like, I actually think Aaron Rodgers hasn't been that bad. I think that the offense is the better unit on the team. Like, if anyone watches the games, if anyone watches them play, the offense is better than the defense. It's supposed to be the 85 Bears defense. Yeah, okay. At number 23, the Indianapolis Colts. I hate this team. Like, I don't hate a lot of teams. I hate this team. I don't like the Colts. Like, there's just nothing that I like about them. What is there to like about the Colts? Jonathan Taylor being an absolute jabron during 90% of the fantasy season and then being the best player I've ever seen. Literally being LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006 in the week that everybody's eliminated. Like, I didn't pick Jonathan Taylor in any of my leagues, but that is sad. That is sad. Like, why would I like the Colts? They have a quarterback who completes 7 passes. Like, I don't find them interesting. I hate that they're relevant and yet they suck. Like, they just make no sense. Like, I just don't want them to, I don't want to watch them. I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to see their 2014 AFC Championship appearance banner, which is a real thing. I don't know what type of team and franchise puts up an AFC Championship banner. Maybe the Miami Dolphins, because they can't win a freaking playoff game. They can't. But the defense for the Colts is also trash. I mean, they got lit up by Mason Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. At number 22, we've got the Atlanta Falcons. Bird Gang, rise up. Michael Penix Jr. Played pretty good. He played pretty good. He wasn't bad. He showed some things. He showed some athleticism. He showed a cannon. He showcased the things that I think the fans can be excited about. Do I think he's going to be Drake May? Absolutely not. Okay, we've already discussed this. But I do think that Penix is going to be pretty good. Pretty good. Bijan is already pretty good. He's pretty good. The run game was promising, and the Falcons still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. They took care of business. Jesse Bates is the best safety in the league. I don't want to hear anything. Matt Judon finally showed up. Congratulations to him in his red sleeves. And yeah, I think the worst thing that could happen for the Falcons is they made the playoffs. Because, like, I think that this organization really needs to think about their decision-making. Like, their GM is incompetent. Their coach is not a good coach. Like, I don't think that this franchise is going anywhere anytime soon with this operation. You might like Michael Penix, and this started out positive because they're at least relevant right now, and you have to take them seriously, given the Bucs just puked on themselves on Sunday Night Football. But I just don't see Raheem Morris and a guy that said he had 3 coaches better than Bill Belichick as a general manager. Like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. At number 21, the Arizona Cardinals, otherwise known as the Kyler Murray Call of Duty ass jabrones. The Cardinals suck. Wow. They lost in overtime to the Carolina Panthers in a shootout. The Carolina Panthers' potent attack went up and down and all around their defense on Sunday. James Conner was literally eating the Panthers for breakfast. And they still didn't win the game because Kyler Murray legitimately sucks. Like, there was a point in the season where I thought Kyler was playing like the best ball of his career, and others also like kind of thought that as well. You know, that being said, Dan Orlovsky kind of thinks that everybody's playing the best ball of their career. Just a side note, does anyone buy anything that guy says? Like, seriously, is he being paid by every agent about every quarterback in the league? Like, has he ever said a negative word about any quarterback? Just side note, anybody? Please let me know in the comments if you've ever heard Danny O say anything negative about any single quarterback that ever existed in the history of the game. He'd probably say something positive about Tim Tebow's mechanics. Like, come on, bro. Like, seriously? At number 21, I got the Cardinals. Kyler is depressing me because he's probably just staying up late. He's playing in Call of Duty, bro. You can tell. Because the guy is running, and he's running the 2-minute drill. He's out of breath, bro. Like, no wonder you're out of breath. You're bye week. You're at UFC. You're eating pizza with some clown. You're making TikToks. You're playing like a ridiculously amount of Call of Duty. You're out of breath on the field, bro. Like, after 2 plays. Like, what are you doing? You're a professional athlete. What is this? You're a quarterback. What are you doing? At number 20, Bryce Young, the little man that can. The Carolina Panthers could beat the Cardinals. So congratulations to Panthers fans out there, because every win is like the Super Bowl for this franchise over the last couple of years. Their defense is still atrocious. I mean, I've never seen a defense more reliably give up 4th and short than this defense. I think this is the most reliable 4th and short defense of all time, and I mean in a negative fashion. Their coverage, though, and their designs on defense in the back end is actually really good. Like, they do a great job at taking away what teams want to do in the passing game. They need a pass rush. They need Derek Brown back. Offensively, I think they could use another receiver, but I'm liking what they have built. You know, with Bryce, Canales, the young vibe, I think there's energy there. There's definitely a little bit of a surge this stretch where it's like next year they've got a little bit of promise. They're kind of like the NFC's version of the Patriots, in my opinion, where it's like you definitely see how some things could come together. They're going to be expected to not be great next year, but you could definitely see how they could put this thing together. So at number 20, Carolina. At number 19, the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, again, Mike McCarthy. You know, we're going to have Dallas Cowboys fans insist that Dak Prescott is the greatest quarterback since sliced bread. I just want to remind Cowboys fans that Tony Romo was 15 times better than Dak Prescott. I don't know why anyone would think any different. Dak Prescott's literally had some of the best rosters in football, and he's never done shit. And all he does is get paid. Bro gets paid. What does Dak Prescott do that is actually, like, impressive? Does he think that that here we go is really impressive? Does he think that that impresses me? I can do that. Here we go. I've seen Cooper Rush do it, bro, for like 6 weeks. Like, what do you do that impresses me at all? I haven't found anything, bro. CeeDee Lamb's out there playing with a broken arm, broken leg, broken elbow. Brandon Cooks is still balling. Rico Dowdle is kind of good. Mike McCarthy is looking like a good coach. How can you sit here and see them destroy the Panthers in Carolina, go toe-to-toe with the Bengals and should have won the game, beat the Bucs on Sunday Night Football? How can you sit here and watch that and not say, hey, maybe our quarterback isn't as good as we think he is, because we have a lot of injuries right now, and we're still beating teams that are going to be in the playoffs. We're still beating teams with Joe Burrow, or we could have beat that team. We're annihilating the Panthers. The Panthers nearly beat the Chiefs, the Bucs. The Panthers just beat the Cardinals to kick them out of the NFL playoffs. Like, the Cowboys are playing good football. Zimmer's done a great job with the defense. The secondary is very opportunistic. No Trayvon Diggs either. I thought they played their asses off. I give them a lot of credit. At number 18, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, speaking of a team that didn't play their asses off, I want to say something about the 49ers. Brock Purdy ain't it, bro. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm off the train. I'm completely done with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is the middest of the mid. I am absolutely done. Did I ever think he was great? No. I thought he was good at one time. But I just can't see this guy every single time that he has to come back in a game, have a game-winning opportunity. His defense is playing their asses off. They're fighting hard. And he just throws a burger. Like, he gets hit. He throws a stupid-ass pass. There's a guy wide open in the flat, and he just throws it right down the middle. Like, what is this jabroni doing? Like, I just can't do it anymore with this guy. Like, I can't. He thinks he's Michael Vick. He runs around in circles, like, for 15 seconds. He thinks he's freaking RG3 in 2012. Like, I don't understand, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously. Shout out to Debo. He actually showed up for the first time this season. George Kittle is a dog, my favorite 49er right now. Fred Warner playing his ass off despite the injury. Nick Bosa fighting through injuries. This team should be back next year. They will be back next year because they have Kyle Shanahan and they have a good foundation of players and talent. They'll turn it around, but I seriously wonder what this thing will look like if they decide to pay Brock Purdy, because he ain't it, bro. Like, he ain't it. You can listen to David Lombardi all you want, bro. This guy is not Joe Montana. He's not Steve Young. He's not it. You can't keep blaming the offensive line for every stupid interception the guy throws, every stupid-ass pass. Like, seriously. At number 17, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Geno Smith. He's a tough cookie because he's not thought of as a Brock Purdy. He's not thought of that highly. But actually, when I think that Niners fans think that Brock Purdy's situation is worse than Geno Smith's. I really do. Like, Geno, I feel like he could get hurt in every game, about like 4 times a game. It looks like he gets in a car crash like 7 times in an NFL game because his offensive line is totally inept. He has no running game to speak of. And he's just throwing missiles like the entire game against one of the best defenses in the league. And he's getting his ass kicked the entire time. And the defense for Seattle, I thought they showed up against the run, but I thought Sam Darnold sliced them up. And I just think Seattle is what they are. They are what they are. They're just a team that they're decent, but they're just not good enough. They're not good enough at running the ball. They can't control a football game. They don't have any rhyme or reason on offense. They have no consistency offensively. I wonder if you find a new offensive coordinator this year. I wonder how much work the offensive line truly needs. But I think next year, we'll see what happens with everything. But Mike Macdonald, I think he's shown that he can kind of trend this defense in the right direction. That was a really fun game to watch against the Vikings for sure. At number 16, the Miami Dolphins. I think are still alive, technically, if I'm not mistaken. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. They beat another team below 500. Yes, they did. The Miami Dolphins can't win a game against a winning team, but they can beat the heck out of bad football teams. So congratulations. Tua has honestly been pretty good lately. I give Tua credit. He looked like the more composed, accurate, and overall, I think composed is the word. Just knows what to do with the ball, the decision-making, the accuracy, the touch. Then Brock Purdy, despite the lack of mobility, because he doesn't act like he has it. The O-line is a bit of a problem, but at least they hit that long run. Tyreek Hill couldn't catch. I mean, he had literal plates for hands. Jonnu Smith is a dog. I think Arthur Smith was onto something when he was feeding Jonnu Smith over Kyle Pitts. The defensive line continues to impress me. Chop Robinson, Calais Campbell, Zach Sealer. They're a solid pass defense overall. They're a middling average team, but it feels like they could have very much been in that wild card race if Tua did not get injured. Like, they feel like a 7-seed-ish type of team to me. That's what they truly do feel like. At number 15, I've got the LA Chargers. The Chargers had a win on Thursday night that I don't think they really deserved. So I didn't really know how much I could truly move them up. I moved them up a little bit. You know, I thought Herbert played fantastic. I think that's really what it comes down to, is Herbert elevated the entire offense. If people are wondering about Justin Herbert and his ability to be an MVP caliber type of player and talent and his ability to elevate players around him, just point to the tape against the Broncos. You know, his throwing, his moving, his big plays in certain situations were absolutely critical for them to win that game. I thought their defense played well in the second half, but got shredded in the first half. Their defense is kind of odd because it was so overrated for many weeks, and then all of a sudden they started playing comp and they just started getting shredded, and now people think, I don't know, like people still overrate them. I don't think they correctly put them in the right category. This team, to me, though, they just consistently feel like a team that doesn't have enough talent. You see them play, and it's like they play the right way. They don't turn it over too much. They force you to beat them. And Herbert can certainly go toe-to-toe with the best quarterbacks, but he doesn't have a lot of reliable options to really get the ball. Outside of Ladd McConkey, there's not a lot to really love. Palmer, Quentin Johnston has pans for hands, like, guy stinks. The Chargers are at number 15. They are a very mid football team, but they'll probably find themselves in the playoffs. At number 14, the Cincinnati Bengals. I know that the Bengals are closer to elimination than the Chargers or even the Dolphins. But to me, right now, at this moment, they're a better team. The Chargers beat the Bengals by fluke at the end of the fourth quarter by McPherson missing multiple field goals and all that. But the Bengals are a better team than them, in my opinion. They're more dangerous. Their offense is extremely explosive. Burrow is playing out of this world. The O-line is hit and miss. They're good in the run game, though. Chase Brown can run the ball. I think their run game is really awesome this year. I think low-key, a lot of people underrate that aspect of their offense. And T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are just different. You add in a little bit of Yossi Voss. You add in a little bit of Mike Gesicki, and you're cooking, bro. And defensively, I thought they had one of their better games of the season. Trey Hendrickson leading the way with multiple sacks against the Browns. So they're just trending up. They're winning games, So this is a team that's still alive, and we know what their offense can do against pretty much anybody. Nobody in the playoffs wants to see this team at all because they can beat you in a shootout, for sure. At number 13, I have the Denver Broncos, who the Bengals play this week, and we'll really see who is better. The Broncos on paper have the better defense, but against comp, they have not played great defense. I would say that their defense has been really good against the run and has been known to get some pressure, but whenever they have injuries to their back end, they just feel like a totally different defense. When Riley Moss has not been in there, they've been a totally different defense. Their secondary has lacked, that ability and coverage. And offensively, they're just one-trick ponies, right? A lot of screens, a lot of quick throws, so much yak. It's ridiculous. You check the stats and it's the amount of air yards thrown is nothing, Bo Nix he's getting all this acclaim, all this applause from his fan base. And so much of his production is just empty. He's not really doing anything. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, but he's athletic. He's got a good arm. I think he operates the offense well. He's got a good demeanor for the team. It just feels like a lot of the plays, he just doesn't do anything. Even the plays, they're wide open. They're wide open, or it's a quick RPO throw, or it's a quick screen. He doesn't do shit for 99% of the game. The defense needs to step up if they want to challenge these AFC contenders, these AFC playoff teams, because without a good defense, they're not going anywhere. At number 12, the Washington Commanders. I moved them up a little bit because they did beat the Eagles, but it was also the Eagles without Jalen Hurts. So, how much am I really going to give them credit? They did have 5 turnovers and still win, which is the most impressive part of all of this. And Jaden Daniels just showed his X-factor quality, his toughness, his grit, his ability to go out there and ball. I also was a little bit impressed by the defense, their ability to adjust and stop the run of Saquon when they really truly needed to. Those all earn points for me, but if I'm sitting here and saying, are they really a threat in the playoffs, and I'm projecting moving forward, not really. I think that's a good win. That's an awesome win for the regular season. But once they get to the playoffs, they just feel like a complete fraud to me in that case. So at number 12, I have the Commanders. Good, but just not a great team. At number 11, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, despite the loss against Dallas. Now, they're a little bit higher last week, I think, but I think they might have been at 10. But Tampa Bay is a team that, yes, they lost to Dallas, but if you compared them to the Commanders and said which team is more likely to be a threat in the playoffs, I would say it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has beaten Detroit and Philadelphia, right? Tampa Bay has experience playing these teams in big games and big moments. And Baker Mayfield has been as good as any quarterback in football this year. I thought he played well despite the offensive line struggling against the Cowboys, some really bad defense by his unit on the other side. I think the Bucs' X factor is going to be how well does their secondary play? How well does Todd Bowles do in these game plans moving forward? They still need to make the playoffs. That being said, I really, really hope they get it done. because I want to see Baker, I want to see Mike Evans, I want to see Bucky Irving in the playoffs, and I don't understand why this team is not playing Bucky Irving more. Maybe it's because he's injured. I don't know, but that's a problem to me. Tristan Wirfs is trying to fight his ass off. He's really injured, and he's still playing through it. I love a lot of these guys on this team. Levante David, Vita Vea played amazing. Jamel Dean's playing well. They need Antoine Winfield back. They need some of their secondary intact moving forward, but I think this team is more dangerous than the Broncos, more dangerous than the Commanders. They're just more feisty, more experienced. So despite the loss, I'm still going to put them at number 11. At number 10, I have the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think that the Bucs have the arguments over the Rams in terms of feisty playoff dark horse nature, because you have Stafford, you have McVay, you have Cooper Kupp, you have playoff experience, you have championship experience, and you have a team that I think can more so rely on their defense in certain aspects. Their run defense is average. Their pass rush is pretty good. Sure, their back end is slow. You can dice them. You can slice them. But I do feel like the Rams can rely a little bit more on their defense, especially the last 2 weeks. They played very, very well and kept them in the game. And then on the other side, they're very capable of winning shootouts with Nakua, with Kupp, with Kyron, with Stafford playing at their best. Tyler Higbee came back, and Sean McVay, when he's on a heater, he's one of the best play callers in the game. I thought that the game against the Jets was really disappointing. I thought they played gross football. I thought they underwhelmed. I thought they got outplayed, but they still won. So 2 gross wins in a row after beating the Bills, I'll still take it. That's positive momentum. They have Stafford, so that's a big reason they're at number 10, because I think their offense is potentially very potent, and they can pair that with an average defense in these games in the playoffs. At number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm not really sure what to do with. Put them at 8, put them at 10, put them at 11. They're somewhere within 8 and 12, in my opinion. I thought it was a disappointing game against the Ravens. They just didn't really show up. They didn't really play with any vigor. It felt like they just didn't have it that day, and they just were never in the game, in my opinion. That being said, I still see some of the things to be excited about. They played that game without George Pickens, without Deshaun Elliott, without some pieces, right? Without Joey Porter for half the game, without Dante Jackson. There are missing pieces on defense and on offense. And I want to see how they play against Kansas City. If they're healthier, it's at home. That will be an interesting matchup and an interesting game. On paper, they should be able to take advantage of the tackle situation of Kansas City on defense. And on offense, we'll see how their balance and their approach to throw deep attacks the Chiefs secondary. The Steelers, they're a voodoo machine. Russell Wilson is definitely capable of making explosive throws and protecting the football, which is good. Their run game and their screen game is decent. Their defense is really good and opportunistic at times, but you can also take advantage of them at other moments. So the Steelers are not a great team by any means. In my opinion, they're not a contender, but they are consistently beating the teams they should beat. They're finding themselves upsetting some of the teams that they shouldn't beat. And they're also in a lot of these games against better teams. So at number 9, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just feel about right in this range. At number 8, the Texans and Steelers are pretty much the same team and interchangeable. I think Stroud is the better quarterback here, but the Texans have a detrimental, absolutely embarrassing offensive line. Nico Collins is a stud, but so is George Pickens, and I would say Tank Dell's loss is huge. Now, can Deontay Johnson fill that in? We'll see. We know he has talent. Steelers fans know that as well. But can he take his head out of his ass? That's a big question. Joe Mixon needs to be successful. For them to be successful, though, to control clock against good teams. He wasn't against the Chiefs. Defensively, I was disappointed by their performance against the Chiefs. They were missing players. They did have guys get banged up, but I still want more from that pass rush in those big moments. I think the Texans are just a smidge better than the Steelers because I like their quarterback more, and I think that they have a little bit more in terms of the defense, I think, is more legit in terms of slowing down these top upper echelon offenses in the AFC and the top teams in the AFC. And I actually was impressed by some of the things I saw against the Chiefs. I think the Tank Dell injury completely took the air out of their lungs in that game. That was a very competitive game. It was, in fact, 1 point shy. It should have been tied at that point, if not for a missed extra point, right? That happened after Tank's injury. They were tied at that point. Right? The Texans even had an early lead in the game. I feel like they've played the Chiefs, the Bills, the Lions pretty darn competitively. They've played good football. I just don't think they're a sexy team. They're a lot like the Steelers, in my opinion. But they're going to need someone to step up at wide receiver, whether it be John Mechie, Robert Woods, or it be Deontay Johnson. They need someone to step up. At number 7, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are at 7, but I really want to put them at 5. Like, the Vikings are that team on this list where I'm like, I could put them at 5, I could put them at 6, I could put them at 7, and ultimately I just settle on 7 because of the other teams ahead of them. But I'm extremely impressed. They're in this tier. I think Sam Darnold is playing great. I think Sam Darnold deserves a lot of praise that in fact, I don't think he's getting. I think a lot of people are really, really slow to give him any sort of praise or any sort of compliment at all. Jefferson had a great game against Seattle. And I think this team has very few flaws. When you look at their team, the offensive line is a bit spotty. The run game is a bit spotty. And the defense, they're a bit slow and old on the back end of the defense. But statistically speaking, you talk about pass offense, pass defense, run defense. You talk about the categories across the board, there's very few things to really look at and nitpick. They're very good in the red zone defensively. They're very good against the run defensively. So I look at this team, and I think if Darnold can continue his success, if this team can somehow get the 1 seed, they're extremely dangerous because their home field is extremely dangerous and no one wants to play there because it's really hard to play there in that dome, in that loud noise against that defense that's creative and they're moving guys around and they're amoeba. And I just want to see this defense clamp down against the pass a little bit more frequently, not give up those not give up those plays to speed receivers. And then on the other side, I need to see a little bit more run game for them to be successful against their playoff opponents. But I think they're really legit, and they are a dark horse for sure. At number 6, the Baltimore Ravens. I have the Ravens at 6 because I think the way that Lamar is playing, that is also combined with Derrick Henry and the defense trending up. This defense, since about week 10 against the pass, is number 1 in EPA allowed. This defense is trending up. So if the Ravens can somehow find a spark entering the playoffs, Lamar, Derrick Henry, running people over with a sprinkle of Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman through the air, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, big explosive plays down the field, and you have a defense that's trending up at the right time. It's getting more out of their pass rush, better, more sequenced defense in the secondary. I feel like this is a type of team that a lot of people won't pick to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, but if they trend the right way here, if they beat the Texans again, they keep going, this team could sneak to the Super Bowl in the AFC, and not a lot of people are talking about them. But I think the biggest thing to understand is that their defense is playing a lot better. At number 5, the Green Bay Packers. I'm just extremely impressed by the Packers, especially offensively. Their offense is incredibly well called and incredibly detailed. They've got enough trickery, enough of everything, right? Enough of a run game. Their run game is awesome. They've got a lot of versatility within it, power, zone. They have great play action plays. They've got great screen concepts. They've got easy gimmies for Jordan Love. They've got bombs. They've got receiver talent, running back talent, tight end talent. They've got a great offensive line, and Jordan Love is really, really good when he's clicking. Defensively, I thought they played great against the Saints. They played exactly to expectation. They played phenomenal football. They turned it over. They dominated. That's what I expect. If they can pair that offense, getting a lead, running the ball, steamrolling you, playing from ahead with a pass rush, this team can beat any team in the NFC. They can go to the Super Bowl. They can win the Super Bowl. If they can play on their terms, they're dangerous. They're fast. They're physical. They can play outside. They can play inside. The Packers are legit. At number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. I actually thought of moving them up. It's just that none of the teams above them lost, I don't think. Oh, well, the Eagles did. I could have moved them ahead of the Eagles or the Lions, I guess. But the Chiefs are still at 4 just because, it's a lack of a resume of impressive wins. I thought the Texans win was, one of the more impressive wins because, their offense, I thought, showed up and played well against a good defense, which is something that the Chiefs haven't really done all year, or at least consistently. They were very successful, with the short passing game, at times with Mahomes making some nice throws, but also at times just making, just really well play called, a little bit of a run game, a little bit of Worthy in the screen game, a little bit of D-Hop, a little bit of Marquise Brown, mixing in everything. The offensive line I thought was a huge improvement, and that was the biggest area that I was putting 2 thumbs up for. The offensive line looked a lot more calm, composed against a really good pass rush. I thought that they were very, very good, and they gave Mahomes enough time to make a lot of different plays. Defensively, I thought they were very solid. They forced a lot of third downs, and Collins and Stroud and Dell were converting a lot of them early. But once Dell got hurt, they kind of clamped down and they dominated. I think against the run, they're still excellent. They didn't allow Joe Mixon to go off. They're very well coached. They've got an awesome quarterback in the clutch, and they're at number 4. They can win the Super Bowl again this year. I just don't think they're as talented as some of the teams above them. I don't think they're as explosive. I don't think that they can score like these teams. And I just feel like they're just a little bit less in terms of that resume of domination. They have the wins. They just don't have the domination to the degree of these other teams this season. But that being said, if you put them at 2 or 1 or 3, I wouldn't even be that mad. At number 3, the Detroit Lions. The Lions just once again, despite their defensive injuries, blew another team out by like double digits, right? Double digits, 3 scores. They did it again. Their offense is a well-oiled machine. I absolutely love their offensive line. I think Jared Goff is playing great football, the best of his career. Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 running back. I think they've got the best play caller in football right now, including the fake fumble Ruski. Jamison Williams was unbelievable against the Bears. That is somebody that could break the playoffs open. Sam Laporta looks healthy. That's also a development. And defensively, they played solid enough. They were opportunistic. They didn't do anything crazy, but they were good enough. So if their defense can combine with this well-oiled machine of an offense and just be solid, good against the run like they usually are, not give up a lot of big plays, force the other team to beat them, if they can combine that with a just epic offense, they're going to be tough to beat. At number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. I am going to give them a break because they lost without Jalen Hurts. I would consider this being without Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts was only in the game for 2 drives, and they were up 14-0 during that time and stretch. Saquon definitely fell off in the second half because of the lack of, I think, presence of Jalen Hurts, and it felt like it was a huge part of their game plan to have the quarterback involved in the run game, and it usually is. Now, what I'm concerned about with the Eagles was their lack of effort on defense, their lack of tackling, their lack of speed, their lack of hunger, and then combine that with the wide receiving core and the limited target attempts for different players. They're a funnelized offense, and what I mean by that is it's Saquon, it's A.J. Brown, it's Devontae Smith, and it's nobody else, and I feel like that's easy to defend, and I think the Commanders kind of figured that out, and that is very, very concerning for me. Defensively, I still think they're one of the top units in the league. They had a tough day. They couldn't tackle. They had a tough time containing Jaden Daniels. They gave up some plays due to penalties, things like that. Knick-knack, patty-whack. But I do think that the Eagles are still the favorite in the NFC all around when Hurts is playing. At number 1, the Buffalo Bills. Yes, they weren't pretty against the Patriots, but those games happen sometimes, including my Patriots of the past, where they would play a team from the AFC East. And the AFC East is known for bad weather. They play in the rain, or they play in the snow, or they play in the freezing-ass cold like the Bills did. The ball is a rock, and they're just playing hard football. Tough, the other team rises to the occasion. They know that this is their Super Bowl against Josh Allen, the MVP, and the Bills. They come out, they try their best, and the Patriots gave them the best punch possible. It just wasn't enough, and the Bills took advantage. I thought the defense definitely tightened up in the second half. That was nice to see from them. I like the development of adding more flair to their blitz packages. I thought May did a great job of countering that, though, and I thought offensively they ran the ball extremely well. The passing game was the part of the game where they couldn't really get control, and they were a little inept in that department because I thought the Patriots secondary just really tightened up on the Bills receivers, and the Bills looked like they kind of had one of those Chiefs game plans where it was like, we're not going to use our good plays unless we really need them. So at number 1, I've got the Buffalo Bills. Those are my power rankings, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's Mitch. Spike the like button. We'll see you in the next video. Deuces.